revenge, long-range strategy, hunt them down like cockroaches, humiliate them. If that were the dominant response of black people to American terrorism, there would have been a civil war every generation. There would be no American democratic experiment whatsoever. Whatsoever. You might recall Brother Malcolm told Martin after he gave the sermon. He said, Negro, you lost your cotton picking mind. You dealing with terrorists. You better pick up your gun and organize. These people don't understand no other language. And he was partly right. But even Malcolm underwent maturation. He ends up embracing Martin. There's more wisdom there than I thought. Because there's a rich discourse of justice in the prophetic Islamic tradition, too, that Malcolm had to get in touch with. Because his rage had got too much of his soul. And he needed to grow and mature and develop like each and every one of us. And at this particular moment, I suggest that it's no accident that those voices that look at the American democratic experiment through the lens of race and empire have a set of insights that might facilitate a democratic awakening, that a serious wrestling with the tradition of Frederick Douglass and Ida B. Wells Barnett and Fannie Lou Hamer and Martin King. And of course, the black freedom movement has never been a movement confined simply to black people. There's John Brown, white brother, Lady Maria Child, white sister, Abraham Joshua Heschel, rabbi, Jewish brother, Harry Magdoff, atheistic Jewish comrade. One could go on and on and on. Irish Catholics like Philip Berrigan and Daniel Berrigan and Dorothy Day, the founder of the Catholic social work movement. One can go on and on. That might be a way of broadening our discussion, giving us courage to link critical thinking, caring deeply for others, and also a courage to hope. Because I do not believe that this is in any way a time for optimism. I am in no way optimistic, but if you take the blues seriously, you become inextricably tied to tragic comic hope, and hope is qualitatively different than optimism. The black freedom movement has never been optimistic. And if it was not in tune with reality. But it's full of tragic comic hope. Been looking up and down. That's why I keep it on. Been down so long, the down don't worry me no more. And that's why I keep it on. Curtis Mayfield said keep on pushing. He knew that it wasn't going to be optimism on automatic. It was a matter of mustering your courage to fight, to think, to care, even to love. And I want to end on a love note. I think it's no accident people of African descent have used the discourse of love in their public speaking. You see, the King's discourse of love and justice. You see, the Frederick Douglass's discourse of love and freedom. John Coltrane's Love Supreme. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, shot through with a love ethic, every nook and cranny, every note, every lyric. Toni Morrison's Beloved, one of the great classics, the Urtext of African American literature. Even that genius from Chicago, R. Kelly, talking about step in the name of love. Now, he got some issues we can talk about. Ain't no doubt about it. But he's still a genius, though. And why is that so? And it's so in part because when you're part of an American civilization that was predicated on a hatred of you, on an institutionalized hatred of you, love becomes liberating and subversive. And when you love yourself and you've been taught to hate yourself, then love itself takes on a weight and a gravity that it might not be for others who take their own self-confidence and self-affirmation for granted. And when that discourse of love then spills over into the Socratic questioning of all the major dogmas in the economic, political, and cultural sphere, and the prophetic witness, knowing that if you really do love yourself as a black person and tell the truth about the dogma of white supremacy, you're probably going to die soon, so you better be willing to bear some witness and some courage. And then pass on your hope to the next generation. Because the hope is something that's earned. It's never inherited. You got to fight for it and sacrifice for it. And all I say is that if there's going to be the kind of democratic awakening that I suggest in my text, we all are going to have to get ready to go down swinging like Ella Fitzgerald and Muhammad Ali. For Socratic questioning, prophetic witness, and tragic hope. Thank you all so very much for allowing me to go on. We're going to have a good time for questions and queries and so forth. Thank you so very much.
This program was produced by the LA Sound Posse. The LA Sound Posse records speeches and events dealing with social justice issues. We anti-copyright these recordings and share them via the internet, via community radio, and as CDs distributed through grassroots social justice groups, nonprofit organizations, committed individuals, and others. Our goal is to be part of the creation of a broad-based, participatory, and democratic civic media in support of the creation of a truly democratic society. You can reach us on the web at www.lasoundposse.org. Contact us for copies of this program on CD, or you can download it for free at www.radioforall.net. That's radio, the digit 4, all.net. If you valued what you heard in this program, please feel free to copy and distribute it to others who you think would benefit from hearing it, thus becoming yourself part of a decentralized, democratic civic media. Thanks very much for listening.